In the year 2419, people from Earth had already traveled far into space. Many human colonies were now scattered across the galaxy. Its planets were peaceful, while others were wild and dangerous. One of those planets was called Rhynex. It was covered in thick jungle with strange animals and plants no one had ever seen before. When the human outpost on Rhynex went silent, United Planetary Council became worried. There were no signals, no messages, nothing. So they sent a team to investigate. The mission was small, just 2 people. One was Ellen Price, a young and smart diplomat who believed in peace. The other was Luke Carter, a quiet and tough farmer, Marine who had seen many battles. His job was to protect Ellen. Their ship landed on Rhynex without any problems. The jungle looked calm from the sky, but once they stepped out, the air felt heavy. The trees were tall, the vines thick, and strange noises came from the darkness all around. Luke held his weapon close, eyes scanning the shadows. Ellen carried a translator device and a small pack of supplies. They walked carefully through the jungle, searching for the outpost. What they found was a wreck. The small buildings were broken. Our metal walls had deep claw marks. Equipment was torn apart. There were no bodies, just silence. Luke checked for any signs of life. Ellen tried to use her communicator, but no signal came through. Suddenly, they heard a sound behind them. Before Luke could react, something struck him hard. He fell to the ground. Ellen screamed, but she was quickly surrounded. Tall, alien figures stepped out from the trees. They had smooth gray skin, glowing blue eyes, and wore armor made of bone and metal. These were the Zelleri, the native hunters of Rhynex. The Zelleri tied the humans with ropes made from plant fiber. Ellen tried to speak, but they did not answer. They carried the humans deep into the jungle. After hours of walking, they reached a large village made of stone and wood. Fires burned in circles, and many more Zelleri stood waiting. In the center was a tall figure with sharp horns on her head. She looked powerful and proud. This was Solara, the war matron of the tribe. Ellen stepped forward and spoke calmly. She explained that they came in peace. She said they only wanted to find out what happened to the outpost. Solara listened but did not trust her. She had seen humans before. Some brought machines and weapons. Some took from the land without asking. She believed all humans were the same. To prove her strength and control, Solara called out a name. From the shadows came a creature unlike anything the humans had ever seen. It was huge, at least 8 feet tall, covered in dark fur and scales. Its eyes were red, its teeth long and sharp. This was Varnock, the predator trained by the Zelleri to obey only the strongest. Solara pointed to Luke and gave her command. She ordered Varnock to kill the human. The crowd grew silent. Ellen shouted for them to stop, but no one listened. Varnock walked slowly toward Luke, its heavy steps shaking the ground. Luke stood still, his hands still tied, but his eyes calm. The predator stopped in front of him. It sniffed the air. Then, instead of attacking, it did something strange. Lowered its head. It looked at Luke for a long moment. Then it slowly bent down and touched its nose gently to Luke's boot. The crowd gasped. No one had ever seen Varnock act this way. Solara's eyes widened in shock. Ellen stared, not understanding what had just happened. The predator stepped back, lowered its body to the ground, and stayed there, like it was showing respect or submission. Whispers moved through the Zelleri. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. Solara's face changed from surprise to rage. She shouted at the elders. She accused the humans of using tricks. But one old Zelleri spoke in, a quiet voice. He reminded her of an old story, a prophecy that said one day an outsider would tame the predator not with power, but with spirit. Luke and Ellen were taken away and locked in a small hut made of stone. Varnock stayed outside, watching the door. Like a guard dog inside the hut, Ellen sat beside Luke. "Why did it stop?" she asked. Luke shook his head. "I don't know, it just looked at me like it saw something. Not fear, not weakness, just ... something." Ellen looked at him for a long moment. Whatever it was, it saved your life. But now, we're in deeper trouble. They think you're part of some legend. And Solara doesn't like legends she can't control. Outside, the Zalari camp buzzed with confusion. The predator had chosen the human, and that was only the beginning of what would change the future of both their species. Ellen sat on the cold floor of the stone hut. She watched the door, thinking about what had happened. Luke was quiet, sitting with his back against the wall. Outside, the alien predator Varnock still waited, did not move or make a sound, just watched. The air inside the hut was damp. A single torch burned outside, throwing shadows on the walls. Ellen broke the silence. "They will not let us go," she said. "Not after this." Luke nodded. "No, but something changed. That beast was supposed to kill me. Instead it bowed. That means something." Ellen leaned forward. "The Zalari are warriors. They believe in strength. You didn't fight, yet Varnock still chose you. That must confuse them." The door opened. 2 Zalari warriors entered. Behind them was a younger one, with smoother skin and smaller horns. He did not wear as much armor. He looked curious, not angry. He stepped forward and spoke in rough English. "You come. Matron speaks." Ellen stood, helping Luke to his feet. The Zalari tied their hands again, but not as tightly as before. They led the humans through the camp. Fires burned in wide circles. The Zalari watched in silence. No one spoke. Children peeked from behind huts. Elders stood still like stone. Solara waited in the center of the village. She sat on a high seat made of bones and wood. Her eyes were sharp and cold. Varnock walked beside the humans without chains. It moved like a shadow, silent but powerful. Solara raised her hand. The guard stopped. She stood and walked slowly toward Luke. Her voice was low but strong. "Why does the beast follow you? What did you do to it?" Luke shook his head. "I did nothing. It chose me." Solara looked to the young Zalari beside her. "Kel. Translate." Kel repeated Luke's words. "What?" Crowd whispered. Solara stared at Luke, then stepped back. "Varnock obeys the strong, the pure of heart, the fearless. You are only human. You do not belong here." Ellen stepped forward. "Came for peace. We do not want war. Let us speak, learn from each other." Solara raised her hand. "You speak? Well, but words are wind. Strength is truth. We will test him. If he survives, he may speak. If not, his death will teach us." The crowd roared. The trial was set. That night, Luke sat near a small fire inside a training pit. The walls were high. Made of stone, Varnock stayed near him. Kel brought food and water. "You do not fear the beast," Kel said. Luke took the food. "No, it trusts me. I trust it." Kel sat beside him. "The others fear you now. They think you are part of the old story. The one who will change the order." Luke looked at him. "That Kel looked away? I don't know. But Varnock follows you. That is enough to make others doubt." The next day, the trial began. Luke was given a simple spear. No armor. He had to face 3 challenges. First, he had to cross the fire bridge, a narrow rope bridge over a pit of flames. Second, he had to hunt and bring back a fang from a jungle beast. Third, he had to face a Zalari warrior in combat. Ellen watched from the edge of the village. She worried, but she knew Luke was strong. Luke crossed the fire bridge slowly. The flames below were real. The heat burned his skin. The rope shook, but he kept his balance. He made it across without falling. The crowd was silent. Next, he entered the jungle with Varnock. The 2 moved like a team. They found a beast with 4 arms and sharp claws. Luke threw his spear. Varnock pounced. Together they brought the creature down. Luke cut out the fang and returned to the village. More Zalari watched now, whispering last was the fight. A tall Zalari warrior stepped into the ring. He held a long blade and wore bone armor. Luke had only his hands. The fight began. The Zalari charged. Luke dodged, rolled, and grabbed a stick from the ground. He blocked the first strike, then struck the warrior's leg. The crowd gasped. The warrior attacked again. Luke used the stick to trap the blade and pushed him back. The fight lasted many minutes. In the end, Luke stood, breathing hard. The warrior was on the ground, not badly hurt, but defeated. Luke helped him up. The crowd cheered. With narrowed eyes, that night, Ellen and Luke were allowed to sit by the fire with the elders. Kell spoke for them. They shared stories. Ellen spoke of Earth. The elders spoke of the old ways. Varnek lay beside Luke like a giant dog. Solara stayed silent. She watched from her seat, thinking deeply. Something was changing. She could feel it. The human had passed every test. The predator still followed him. The people now looked at the humans with new eyes. Kell walked Ellen back to her hut. "Tomorrow, the council will speak," he said. "Some want you to stay. Others want you gone. Solara still does not trust you." Ellen nodded. "What do you want, Kell?" He looked at the stars. "I want peace. I want the stories to change. Maybe you and Luke are the ones to start that." Back in his hut, Luke sat with Varnock. He touched the beast's head. "Why me?" he whispered. Varnock said nothing, but its eyes glowed soft in the dark. The night passed quietly, but the winds of change had already begun to move through the jungle of Rhinex. The next morning, the village was quiet. Cool wind moved through the jungle trees. Smoke from small fires rose into the air. The Zellery were preparing for the council meeting. It would decide what to do with the humans. Everyone waited to hear what Sailoro would say. Luke stood outside the hut. He looked at the sky, thinking about the trials. Varnik stood beside him. The huge predator stayed close, always watching. It had become more than just a guard. It was like a silent friend. Luke did not understand the bond, but he trusted it. Ellen joined him, but he had not slept much. "The council will meet soon." Said, "Do you think they'll let us go?" Luke shook his head. "No, I think they're still afraid, especially Solara." Before they could speak more, Kell arrived. He wore a clean robe and no armor. He looked nervous. "Come with me. The council is ready." The center of the village was full. The Zelari stood in circles. The elders sat near the fire. Solara stood. With her arms crossed, her face showed no emotion. Luke and Ellen walked into the center. Varnock followed, ignoring the gasps from the crowd. One elder stood. His voice was rough and deep. "Luke Carter has passed the trials. He faced fire, beast, and warrior. He fought with honor. But there is still fear. As the predator, Varnak, follows him without command. This has never happened before." Another elder stood. She looked older, her eyes tired but kind. "The old stories speak of a time when a stranger would come, one not born of our world, one who would be chosen by the beast. This may be that time." Solara stepped forward. Her voice was clear. "He passed the trials, yes, but passing tests does not make one worthy of trust. The predator obeys him, but we do not know why. We should not forget the humans who came before. They burned our trees and took our land." Ellen stepped forward. "We are not them. We came to help. The outpost went silent, and we came to find out why. We want peace. We want to understand." There was silence. Then a soft voice came from the crowd. A young Zellery child stepped forward. He looked at Luke and Varnek. "The beast is not afraid of him. Maybe we should not be afraid either." Whispers spread. Kell spoke next. "Let them stay, at least for a while. Let us learn from each other. If we push them away now, we may never know." The truth, the elders began to speak among themselves. After a while, the oldest elder raised his hand. "We vote." Each elder placed a hand on the stone of judgment. One by one, they lit it with their touch. Green for yes, red for no. When the last hand was lifted, the stone glowed mostly green. Only a few red lights burned. The elder nodded. "They may stay, but they must prove they will not bring harm," the crowd murmured. Some looked pleased. Others looked unsure. Solara did not speak. She turned and walked away. Kel smiled at Ellen and Luke. You are not prisoners anymore. What? You are guests. That evening, Ellen and Luke sat near a small fire with Kel. They shared food made from jungle fruits and cooked meat. The taste was strange, but good. Kel told them stories of Zelari history. He spoke of the first matron, who fought beasts with only a wooden spear. He spoke of the Sky War, when ships burned in the sky and the jungle cried for days. Ellen listened with care. We have stories too, she said. Some are about peace. Some are about war. But many are about hope. Luke did not speak much. He watched. The stars. Varnock lay nearby, resting. But alert suddenly, a loud horn sounded. It came from the edge of the village. Zelari ran to the gates. Len, Luke, and Kel followed. A scout had returned. He was hurt, his leg bleeding. Another tribe is coming, the scout said. The Daroth. They march with weapons. Do not want peace. The news spread fast. Slayla stood on the watchtower, her face hard. They think we are weak because we let the humans live, she said. They want to take our land. We must fight. Some Zelari nodded. Others looked unsure. Kel turned to Ellen and Luke. The Daroth are cruel. They destroy everything. They don't care about peace. Luke stepped forward. Let us help. We can fight too. Look down at him. Why should I trust you in battle? You are not Zelari. Luke looked at Varnock. Your predator trusts me. Maybe that is enough. That night, the village prepared for war. Spears were sharpened, armor was cleaned, fires were lit along the walls. Luke stood with the warriors. He wore simple armor and carried a long blade. Ellen worked with the healers, preparing herbs and bandages. As the moon rose, Varnock howled into the sky. The sound echoed across the jungle. The Daroth were coming. And for the first time, humans and Zelari would fight side by side in the silence before the storm. Solara looked at the stars. Her heart was heavy. Change had come to Rhinex. She could feel it. And she did not know if it was good or bad, but she knew one thing. The predator had chosen. And that changed everything. The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Even the birds and insects had gone silent. Something dangerous was coming, and all life could feel it. The Zelari village stood ready. Fires burned along the wooden walls. Warriors with spears and bows stood guard. Their eyes watched the trees. Waiting for movement, Luke stood with the warriors. His armor was light but strong. He held a sharp blade made from alien metal. Varnock stood beside him, its eyes glowing in the dark. Ellen moved between the huts, helping the healers prepare. She handed out bandages and herbs, her hands steady even though her heart beat fast. Kel joined Luke on the wall, looked tense. But ready. They will attack at dawn, Kel said. The Daroth always strike just as the sun rises. Luke nodded. And we hold until the sun is high. We don't break. Kel gave a small smile. Sound like one of us. Maybe I am now, Luke replied. As the first light of morning touched the sky, the enemy arrived. The Daroth warriors were large and wore armor made from bones and stone. Carried jagged weapons and roared as they charged. The ground shook under their feet. The Zelar answered with their own battle cry. Arrows flew through the air. Spears were thrown. The first clash came at the wooden gates. The Daroth struck hard. Smashing the barrier with heavy clubs, the wall began to crack. Luke stood near the front. When the wall gave way, he was ready. With Varnock beside him, he rushed into the fight. The predator moved like lightning, leaping at enemies, knocking them down, roaring with power. Luke fought with calm focus, blocking, striking, and moving. With skill, Kel fought nearby, shouting orders to his people. The Zelar held their ground, but the Daroth were strong and many. Soon, the battle moved into the village. Fire spread, screams echoed. Still, the defenders did not give up. Ellen worked fast. She pulled the wounded to safety and treated burns and cuts. She never stopped, even when explosions shook the ground. She saw a young Zelari fall, and ran to help him. The boy's eyes were full of fear. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, pressing a cloth to his wound. Luke and Varnak pushed forward. The Dareth leader appeared, a massive warrior with a horned helmet and a double-bladed axe. He saw Luke and pointed. "The human dies," he growled. He charged. Luke met him head-on. Their blades clashed with a loud ring. The fight was brutal. The Dareth leader was strong, but Luke was fast. He dodged, blocked, and struck back. Varnak leaped into the fight, but the Dareth leader kicked the beast aside. Luke used the moment to stab forward, cutting across the enemy's side. The Dareth leader howled in pain. He swung wildly and Luke ducked. With one final move, Luke jumped and drove his blade into the enemy's chest. The Dareth leader fell. The battle paused. Enemy saw their leader fall and began to retreat. The Zelari shouted in victory. The Dareth ran into the jungle, leaving their dead behind. The village was badly damaged. Smoke rose from burning huts. The ground was covered in blood and ash. But the people had won. Saylara stood at the edge of the battle. She had fought to, her face bruised and her arm bleeding. She looked at Luke, who stood tall with his blade in hand and Varnak beside him. She walked toward him. "You fought well," she said. Luke nodded. "We protected your people. We protected our friends." Saylara looked at the burning village. "I did not believe you at first. Thought humans were all the same, but you were different." Ellen came too. "Stand with them." Her clothes were dirty, her hands stained with blood, but her eyes were strong. "We want peace," she said. "We want to learn, to help." Saylara looked at both of them. Then she looked at Varnak, who lowered its head gently toward her. "The predator chose well," she said softly. That night the village mourned the dead. Fires burned in memory of the fallen. Songs were sung and stories were told. Luke and Ellen sat with the Zelari elders. Kel sat beside them, smiling. "You saved us," he said. "Now the people believe." Saylara stood before the fire. "Tonight we remember those we lost, but we also remember those who fought beside us. For the first time, humans and Zelari fought as one. This is the start of something new." The crowd clapped and cheered. Some came to thank Ellen and Luke. Others touched Varnak's fur with respect. Later, Ellen and Luke sat by the river. "Do you think this will last?" Ellen asked. Luke looked at the stars. "If we keep trying, yes." Varnak lay beside them, peaceful. Now, the jungle was quiet again. This time it was not fear that filled the air. It was hope, and hope, Luke thought, was stronger than any weapon. The days after the battle were quiet. The fires had stopped burning, but the village still showed signs of the fight. Some huts were broken, the ground was black from ash, and the people walked slowly, tired from loss and hard work. But there was peace for now. Ellen helped rebuild the huts. She worked beside the Zelari, carrying stones and fixing walls with vines and mud. Even the youngest Zelari helped. No one treated her like an outsider anymore. They shared food with her, told stories, and asked questions about Earth. Luke trained with the warriors. He showed them new ways to fight, how to block better and move faster. In return, they taught him how to use Zelari weapons. Always stayed close, silent, and loyal. The villagers had started calling Luke the Chosen Bond. It was a name from old stories, a title given to one who shared a spirit with the beast. One evening, Saylara called a gathering. The council fire was lit again, and everyone came. The air was full of questions. Saylara stood before them. Her face was calm. "The Dareths have been pushed back, but they will return," she said. "We cannot face them alone again." She looked at Ellen, who spoke of help. "Of your people." Ellen nodded. "If you allow me, I can contact my homeworld. We have tools, medicine, protection. We can help you defend this planet, but only if you want it," the elders whispered. One of them stood. "Will they control us? Will they treat us like children?" Ellen answered, "No. We offer help, not control. You choose what to accept." Stepped forward. We fought beside them. I trust them. Saylara looked at the fire. She was silent for a long time. Then she nodded, double quotes, then send your message. But no, we are not weak. We are not pets. We will fight for our own future. Ellen smiled. We wouldn't want it any other way. Next day, Ellen and Luke followed Kel and 2 scouts deep into the jungle. They had to reach the signal beacon, a small human device placed when the first outpost was built. It was hidden far from the village. The jungle was thick and alive. Strange birds flew overhead, insects hummed, bright flowers glowed under the leaves. It took a whole day to reach the beacon. The device still worked. Ellen connected her communicator and sent a coded message to Earth. She asked for help, not orders. She explained what had happened and asked for a peaceful team to come. They will take days to arrive, she said. Now we wait. They camped near the beacon that night. The fire was small, the sky above clear. Luke sat with Kel, both tired but relaxed. Do you believe in fate? Kel asked. Luke thought for a moment. I believe in choices, but maybe some things are meant to be. Kel nodded. I think Varnock was. Meant to find you, you brought change. Back in the village, Solera watched her people. They were smiling more. We're talking about the future. She felt something deep in her chest. Not fear, not anger. Something new hope. Later, the human ship arrived. It landed in a large clearing outside the jungle. The Zellerie came to see it, unsure of what to expect. But the ship did not bring soldiers. It brought builders, doctors, and teachers. Ellen welcomed them and introduced them to Solera. There was tension at first, but over time, the humans showed respect. They asked before doing anything. They listened more than they spoke. Together, humans and Zellerie rebuilt the outpost. But this time it was different. It wasn't just a human place. It was a place for both people. A shared home. Luke trained both Zellerie and human guards. He helped build a watchtower. Varnock became a symbol of unity, standing at the gate with pride. One evening, as the sun went down, Ellen stood on the tower with Solera. You gave us a chance, Ellen said. Thank you. Solera didn't smile, but her voice was softer than before. You earned it. The jungle listens to hearts. Yours were honest. Down below, children ran between huts. Some were Zellerie, some were human. They laughed. Together, Kel walked up the stairs. The council wants to plan a celebration, a day of peace. Solera looked at them. Then, let it be the first of many. Luke watched from below. He looked at the stars again, thinking of how far they had come. He looked at Varnock, who sat calmly. Beside the children, you chose right, he whispered. The predator turned its head slightly, as if it understood. And for the first time, Rhinex was not a place of fear. It was becoming a place of hope, one step at a time. A month passed. The village was no longer just a place of huts and warriors. Now it had new buildings, clean water systems, and small energy lights that glowed at night. Humans and Zellerie worked together, side by side. The once silent jungle was now filled with laughter, learning, and stories from 2 worlds. Luke walked through the village each morning, checking on the watch posts. Varnock followed, calm and alert. Many young Zellerie had begun training with human guards. They called Luke teacher of 2 paths. Ellen spent her days organizing a small school. Human and Zellerie children sat together on stone benches, learning both languages and simple science. The kids loved it. They asked questions, shared food, and even drew pictures of Earth and Rhinex side by side. One evening, Kel came to Ellen with news. The United Planetary Council had sent a message. High Ambassador was coming. The council wanted to meet the Zellerie, formally. Ellen's heart filled with both hope and worry. Will they try to control this? She asked. Kel looked thoughtful. They might, but you will speak for us. We trust you. Luke joined them. When will the ambassador arrive? 2 days, Ellen said. We should prepare. The village held a meeting. Solera sat at the center. Her voice was strong and calm. The humans have brought help, not harm. Their leaders are still unknown to us. We must meet them with open eyes and strong hearts. Luke nodded. them see our unity. Let them see what we've built together. When the ambassador's ship landed, it was larger and more polished than the others. Out stepped a tall man in a clean suit. His name was Adrian Hale. He had gray hair, sharp eyes, and a voice that carried authority. He looked around the village, then at the people. He raised an eyebrow when he saw Varnock calmly sitting near the children. Ellen stepped forward. Welcome. To Rhynek's ambassador, Hale nodded. This is ... unexpected. He met with Saylara, Ellen, Luke, and Kel inside the meeting hut. Varnock waited outside. The air was tense. We have received your reports, Hallie said. Peace between species, bonded predator, shared control. It is all ... impressive. Solara's eyes narrowed. We do not share control. We share trust. Hale gave a polite smile. Of course. Still, the council is concerned. This situation is unique. Luke leaned forward. You're not here to break what we've built, are you? No, Hale said. But I need to ensure this alliance stays under council. Guidance. Ellen kept her voice calm. This is not just a human matter anymore. The Zelari are equals in this. Hale studied her. Then he looked at Kel. What do your people want? Kel spoke clearly. We want peace, growth, and freedom. We want to walk beside humans, not behind them. There was a long pause. Hallie finally nodded. Then let us begin talks. For the next 2 days, the ambassador stayed in the village. He watched the training, visited the school, and spoke with the elders. He asked many questions. Slowly, he began to see what Ellen and Luke had helped create. At night, Hale sat with Saylara and listened to the old songs. She shared stories of jungle spirits and the history of their people, said little, but his eyes showed respect. On the 3rd day, Hale gathered everyone at the center. I came with doubts, he said, but what I have seen is not weakness. It is strength built from trust. The council will not interfere. We will recognize this alliance. We will support it. The village cheered. Ellen felt tears in her eyes. Kel clapped her on the back. Lara gave a rare smile. Luke looked at Varnock. The beast blinked slowly, peaceful as always. That night a celebration was held. Food was. Shared fires were lit, and music from both worlds filled the air. Children danced. Stories were told in both languages. Hale sat beside Ellen, watching. You did well, he said. We did it together, she replied. He looked at her, thoughtful. There will be more eyes on Rhynek's now. Are you ready for that? Yes, Ellen said. Because this is just the beginning. In the darkness beyond the fires, Varnock watched the stars. It had been created to hunt. But now it guarded something new. A peace stronger than fear. And far above, in the silent sky, new ships prepared to follow the path Ellen and Luke had made. Rhynek's was no longer forgotten. It was a light in the jungle, and the whole galaxy was beginning to notice.